Funny to pick from.
Sauna nights. Wow.
The British person in me is very skeptical about this.
Go on.
Yeah. I think like coming to Japan where, public bathing and saunas and, onsen and all that stuff as a
What's onsen?
hot springs, like a
Okay.
hot spring. That kind of concept, like I don't know, maybe like I'm too prudish, the British prudish attitude. Like, it don't seems weird to me. Like, but I bet Finland or something mad for this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
bet they're mad for it.
Yeah, yeah. What do you mean by prudish in that sense?
The concept of being naked in front of other people to enjoy something seems like something that is not that easy for me. Like, like when you have that dream as a kid that you forgot to get dressed and you went to school or something, and you're like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing that ever happened to me. And then like, oh, you choose to do that. Cool.
I'd like you to ask your Japanese friends if that is a common recurring nightmare in their childhood or like their teenage years.
Once I said it out loud, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's only me. But
No, that's like common in like Hollywood films, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, I forgot my clothes or kind of
Yeah.
thing, like in the middle of the gymnasium.
or whatever. Yeah, like I think the other thing as well is like obviously I'm a big fat white guy, and like all these little Japanese people, whenever I go anywhere like that, they're just like, and like, suddenly
yeah,
the
right.
center of attention, and like, oh okay, cool, this is so much fun. I can't wait to be
is
here.
it fully naked?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But luckily, I'm saved by the fact I have tattoos, and usually that's a pretty good way to get banned from any kind of public nudity in Japan. So
Do they ban that?
yeah, like I mean, it's the attitude to tattoos is deeply ingrained in their society because it was a mark of the yakuza, which is like it's indicated crime, right? So
right.
for most Japanese people, tattoo equals they're involved in crime, and
Huh.
that for I mean even certain gyms I'm not allowed to go to, certain hotels I'm not allowed to stop at, and this kind of thing, and
Wow.
it's kind of weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is changing, but it's slowly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's something that you wouldn't ever think about in the UK if you're about to get a tattoo. Be like,
No.
oh, you'll regret this when you're an old man. Like, oh, you'll regret this if you live in Tokyo.
Yeah, well, I definitely didn't see it coming. So, but it kind of saved me from the embarrassment. Like, do you want to go to the hot spring? Oh, I can't. I've got tattoos.
Yeah,
What a
right.
shame.
Yeah.
It's like a
oh,
get out of jail free card. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. How
But nah,
common
don't
would you
seem like my
say?
thing.
How common would you say tattoos are in the UK?
Oh, they're increasingly common.
Mm.
I would imagine. I would imagine that it's going to correct itself at some point because it seemed like from me being like 15 to 30, everyone got a tattoo. Like everyone's got a tattoo. But I think that'll eventually correct itself with less and less people getting tattoos because it's going against the grain, which is what young people generally do, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's true. Yeah, the idea of a tattoo is kind of to individualize yourself or like make yourself a little bit different. But if everyone's doing it, then it might
exactly.
yo-yo back. I just Googled it, and apparently 42% of people born in the 80s and 90s have at least one tattoo.
Sounds lower than I expected, actually, to be honest.
Oh, really? I think that's
Yeah.
still very high. 42%.
It is high, but in my head I was like at least 50, so yeah, okay,
Right.
cool.
Yeah. Tattoos have become increasingly mainstream, with over 20 million people in the UK now having at least one. 20 million, yeah.
Big business.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they've evolved though. Like in the 80s, everyone had like a, it's normal to get like a Tasmanian devil, which is like the cringe one, or like a tribal tattoo. Like,
Yes.
all right, Gavin, what tribe are you from? You know what I mean? But nowadays, I think there's a lot more artistic merit in some of the tattoos that people get now, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah. And meaning as well.
Yeah,
Something to
as
do
well.
with family or something like that. Yeah, okay. But going back to sauna nights, Brits don't really have a culture around saunas. We don't really know what we're doing. I mean, I
No.
was a member at a really posh gym before I realised I can't afford this. And they've got like 3 types of saunas and a jacuzzi and like a cold plunge. And everyone was just doing it all wrong. Like we're all
just madness.
Yeah. We just didn't know what we were doing. And I actually saw a German lady in there getting very upset with how we were doing it. And she went and complained. She's like, this is not how it is done.
Get these people under control. The bit that blew my mind most there was there's 3 different kinds of saunas.
Yeah, wet, dry, and steam. So it's not a sauna. Well, is it?
A
steam room,
I mean,
a wet sauna,
we're
and a dry
arguing
sauna.
semantics at this point.
Yeah.
But I just thought sauna is sauna and like that's that. But that's how uncultured I am.
There you go. Yeah, I think most Scandies would be quite shocked with that because I think they almost like not require. I'm going to be shot for saying that, but like they're assuming that most people know about the 2, like the dry and wet kind of thing. So yeah,
I'm going to get lynched if I ever go to Stockholm, is what you're saying.
Or me for saying something so incredibly incorrect. Yeah, they are very understanding of the benefits of cold plunge and sauna and stuff like that. Would you appreciate cold plunge?
I'd like to try it at least once in my life, just for the sake of it. But it's hard enough to go from like a hot shower into a lukewarm bath. Like I don't know how much I'd fancy jumping in some ice water after that.
Yeah.
I don't know. People are weird, man. Everybody likes something. Like, cool. Whatever floats your boat. Like, crack on.
Yeah, very good phrase. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah, I was surprised that I got into it, and afterwards you feel a good little buzz from it. Yeah, and your mind feels clean and like, yeah, it's a nice feeling. I recommend it. And also, I always avoid like anything that's slightly not pleasurable.